Today we're going to be doing a pixel art take on one of Bob's beautiful compositions. This is Season 13, Episode 4's painting titled Evening at Sunset. I really like the dramatic sky and colors. For this one I'm using Sprite software, a 200 by 160 pixel canvas, and this palette. I'll put a link to the palette in the description. Let's get started. To begin, I roughly block out where the mid-ground tree line is going to be. I try to make it roughly halfway up the canvas to match Bob's composition. Nothing detailed here, I just want to know where to start my sky. For the sky, I start with the brightest portion, the setting sun, and work outward from there. The colors get less bright as we move away from the sun, and I'm not worried about details just yet. I work through the orangey red part of my palette. This purple cloud up here is something I brought from Bob's painting. I try to angle it towards the setting sun to help give the sky some directionality and hopefully achieve some depth. I try to angle all the clouds I create as I start to mix the sky colors towards the center. I think this helps add a bit of drama to the sky. The idea behind the lines angling towards the center is that they're clouds catching some light from the low sun, so the bigger clouds will tend to gather some shadow on the shaded side as well. For all these clouds, I try not to be too picky about my pixel placement. I try to use the mouse in the same way a watercolor painter might brush a big, loose stroke. The real test is whether or not it looks good in the preview window in the lower right, not if it looks good on your zoomed-in canvas. I'm not in love with the way the purple clouds turned out. I try a few things with highlights and shadows. In the end, I just break them up a bit. Just trying to refine the silhouette of the distant trees. A good tree shape is not too fat and not too skinny. Again, the preview window is your friend. For the grassy part, I start by blocking in the shape with the mid-tone green color. Then I try to figure out where the high and low spots will be to determine how the highlights and shadows will play out. Blocking in the colors before adding detail can help quickly show the shape of the area. Once we're ready for some texture, I create a grass-like brush by selecting a few of the grass pixels and pressing Ctrl B. This will create a brush from the selection and I can paint with it to quickly lay in the texture. The custom brushes in Aseprite are hugely powerful and time-saving. These brighter pixels were intended to be blades of grass catching light from the setting sun, but I'm not sure that effect is working. If not, they can just be patches of wildflowers. The foreground grass is created using a very similar process. The only difference here is I'm trying to keep in mind that the grass is closer and we might see more detail. The stream is very calm and reflects a lot of the bright evening sky. My process for the stream is to block in the colors matching the general layout of the sky. I try to keep in mind the viewer's point of view in determining where the colors change. I mix the colors together using horizontal strokes to indicate some small ripples in the flowing water. Next up is the tree. I start by blocking in the shape of the trunk and branches. The main thing I try to keep in mind is that the branches always taper from big to small as the tree goes up and outward. Once the general shape is blocked in, I add a small bit of edge lighting to the tree where the sun might be hitting the trunk and branches. I also try to hint at the texture of the tree by adding some bark-like strokes near the bottom of the trunk. I wanted to try something kind of new when it came to the foliage of this tree. I decided to add some directionality to the way the bunches of leaves flow so they kind of angle towards the setting sun, much like the clouds. I was hoping this might create a dramatic effect. I'll let you decide if it worked or not. Rendering the bunches of foliage is similar to the grass. Mark out the highlights and shadows, then create a leaf-like brush to mix the colors together and provide texture. Adding in the shadow cast by the tree trunk. I put it off as long as I could. It's time for the cabin. Structures are definitely not my strong suit, and creating this was not my comfort zone. I think adding the highlight and shadow near the end finally made it feel like it belonged in the environment. We're almost done here. I always enjoy creating pixel art versions of Bob Ross's paintings. I hope you enjoyed watching this one come together, and I hope you got something out of it. I appreciate you watching. Have a lovely evening.